everybody. Oli here to the weekly news recap for the 13th to the 19th of May 2024. So, get into it. Ubisoft revealed the first trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows. Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to be, I don't know, 15 years late on making an Assassin's Creed in Japan. Like everybody said there should have been since Assassin's Creed 2, more or less. Anyway, they're finally getting around to it. They finally broke the glass in case of emergency. Anyway, this trailer is predominantly CG. In fact, it is entirely CG. I don't know why I said predominantly. So we don't really know gameplay, but it is pretty much going to be the same as Assassin's Creed Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, that kind of Assassin's Creed, as opposed to Assassin's Creed Mirage, which was more of a throwback to the earlier parts of the series. They're using the dual protagonist thing from Assassin's Creed Syndicate, so you're not going to be playing as one protagonist and you just choose their gender at the beginning, like you have done for Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla. So Assassin's Creed Syndicate, there were actually two characters, the Fry twins, I think. I never played Syndicate, so I don't really remember. And one of them was like your traditional assassin with the hood up and stalking the rooftops and that kind of thing, and the other one was a bit more of a brawler melee type character. So they're going to be taking pretty much the same approach here with those two characters you just saw there. Noe, I think is her name. It's going to be more of the traditional assassin type, ninja type. And Yasuke is going to be the brawler samurai type character. We'll just skip ahead a little bit into when the action happens, I guess. Right, anyway. It's still CG, you're not really going to get any appreciation for how exactly the game will play, but it's going to be much the same as the other ones. Anyway, this was announced in in tandem with a bunch of other Assassin's Creed games that were also called out. There was one, Assassin's Creed Hex, or Hexy, is going to be more of a Slavic witch type Assassin's Creed that we don't know too much about, and we don't really know who's working on it at the moment or anything like that. That's probably the one I'm most interested in. This samurai ninja one is like, why has it taken this long for Ubisoft to make a Assassin's Creed Japan? Like, it's been the most obvious choice since the beginning of the series. Maybe that's why it's taken that long. They felt it was too obvious. I don't know. Anyway, November 15th, so it's out this year. Hopefully it won't be as gigantic as Valhalla. Right, moving on. Okay, so the Dead by Daylight people, Behavior Interactive, had a showcase type thing this week where they showed off a bunch of Dead by Daylight stuff. Most of it was just focused on the game itself that I don't have any real interest in playing or watching, for that matter. It's just the game doesn't interest me. Beyond the handful of licensed monsters and villains they bring into the game. Other than that, guess I had a little bit of interest when Resident Evil was in it, I suppose, but otherwise not really. Anyway, casting of Frank Stone is a little bit different, as you saw. It's also Supermassive Games. Supermassive, known for their choose your own adventure style games. So Until Dawn is probably the one that people know them the best about. The Dark Pictures anthology that I've played on the channel with Melwin. There's also a full Let's Play of Until Dawn somewhere on the channel before I started streaming. Anyway, that's them. So they're teaming up with Behavior to do a Dead by Daylight type version of that. I don't know who Frank Stone is. I don't know if he's meant to be a Dead by Daylight villain. Is he one of the Stalker types or something like that? But anyway, that's what they're going for. It's like a found footage thing. Not a found footage thing. It's like a bunch of teens go into this abandoned, condemned mill or foundry, I think, and shenanigans transpire. And hopefully, unlike all the Dark Pictures things, these things are actually happening and they're not hallucinations or dreams or it was the friends we made along the way, like a lot of their stories have turned into, and it's a trope I despise. Anyway, no release date or anything like that, just it's a thing, it's happening. Keep an eye out if you're interested. Okay, Ron Gilbert is continuing to make games. It seems like his experience with Return to Monkey Island didn't put him off video game development entirely. Like, if anything, it put him off doing Monkey Island. But other than that, anyway, just check my OBS levels, because I didn't do that. Microphone is working. Okay, that's fine. Right, good. Anyway, so we don't have a name for this game yet, but it is touted to be something like the classic Legend of Zelda games meets Diablo meets Thimbleweed Park. So two of those games are probably pretty familiar to everybody. Thimbleweed Park is a point-and-click adventure game from Ron Gilbert. It's got a bit of X-Files to it. It's got a bit of... I was going to say it's got a bit of Twin Peaks. It doesn't really have much Twin Peaks. It's got a little bit of Twin Peaks. It's mostly X-Files. This character you can see here, who's got a little bit of Dana Scully look to her in the center of the screen, is also one of the characters from Thimbleweed Park, or looks exactly like her. So it's possible it's like a pseudo sequel or a set in the same world kind of thing. Thimbleweed Park didn't look like this, though. It didn't look like a top-down Zelda or Stardew Valley type thing. Thimbleweed Park was more of a... I guess like a more juiced up version of Monkey Island. You know, it was still cartoonish, but it was still trying to go for more of a realistic approach to their character design. So not chibi, not cute kind of thing, but that seems to be what they're going for this time. Anyway, Zelda meets Diablo meets Thimbleweed Park, set to be released some stage this year, but probably not. Anyway, Gilbert joked that the addition of Elisa Black, makers of Objects in Space, would up the chance by 37% that I'll finish the game before becoming bored and disillusioned. Okay. Anyway, Ron Gilbert has kind of famously... Why is there cheeks and weird stuff on my screen? Okay, the article mustn't be as long as I thought it was. Anyway, yeah, we don't really know when it'll be out. 2024 is what they're planned, but maybe early 2025. This is game dev after all, so we don't know. But anyway, he hasn't completely disappeared from making video games, so that's something at least. Wayfinder is ditching its free-to-play live service model to become a paid co-op RPG. Okay, so Wayfinder, these are the people behind... There's some of the people behind Darksiders, and there's some of the people behind... The hell is that game called? Battle Chasers? Battle Chasers, that's it. It's like a weird Western take on a JRPG. It was pretty good, actually. Anyway, this is those people. They have a game currently in early access called Wayfinder. It is a live service, microtransaction, horrible thing that nobody really wants. Certainly not what they want from a Wayfinder type joint, and it seems they've got the memo because they are planning to stop doing that, basically. So right now it's a live service game with microtransactions. Soon it'll continue as a paid co-op RPG with no in-game monetization. The update coming at the end of this month will remove all in-game monetization, and everything previously purchasable will be earnable through play. There won't be an online requirement. And the price is going to be adjusted as well. That's including all present and future early access stuff. And when it leaves early access, the price will go up. So yeah, that is good. Normally you see games pivot from the premium purchase product to a live service thing when they're not getting enough people into the game. It is interesting and good that they're going the opposite direction, because it does mean games preservation wise it's a lot more robust against something like that. Whether it will have something that people are interested in is debatable. It is a kind of Diablo-like, and that is kind of what I saw it as when it was announced, and then they also said it was a live service thing. I was like, well, that's the end of that. I have no interest anymore. So changing it up, I might go back to it now. All of this comes at a strained time for Airship, as they parted ways with Digital Extremes a few months ago or transferred full ownership of the game. Digital Extremes obviously didn't have as much confidence in the game. Obviously, they didn't have as much confidence in the game, but it does mean that once Airship were free of Digital Extremes, they decided to pivot to this fully priced thing, which might suggest Digital Extremes were the reason it was a live service thing in the first place. Will we ever know? Probably not. Anyway, Wayfinder's reviews haven't gone down all that well on Steam, with criticism leveled at its monetization and bugginess. Well, the monetization bit is going to go away. And the bugginess, you kind of have to expect, because it's an early access game. I mean, it's going to be buggy. Hey Melwan, how are you getting on? Happy Sunday. Anyway, we'll see. So end of May, for PC at least, it'll transfer over to this not single player, co-op, paid, non-live service thing. And then over on PlayStation, it'll be summer. There's no specific date for it, so I guess July at some point. And then at some point in autumn, it will leave early access and be available everywhere. Guess we'll see how that works out for them. Okay, Redfall will in fact get a final update. So this was speculation when Microsoft Xbox closed Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks and a few others last week. There was questions on whether or not there would be a full update for Redfall or anything like that. Taking a break from deep cleaning part 2. Oof. Take a very long break. Take like a couple of months long break from deep cleaning. Anyway. So it was speculation on what exactly the Redfall team were working on before it was shuttered, because they weren't told ahead of time that the studio was being closed. That was dropped on them roughly around the same time the public learned, which is extremely shitty way to treat your people. But anyway, that's what happened. So they were working on the game in the meantime, and in the meantime they were working on a fully offline version of Redfall, a no internet required one. You could play entirely single player and so on. So that is the final update that will come out before the game is no longer supported and the studio disappears. It's, again, not great. There were questions around the last part of its DLC, the Hero Pass, that was supposed to have 2 additional characters and stuff like that. That is not happening anymore. If anybody bought the Hero Pass, they're allegedly getting the value of it in kind, but what does that mean? You know how when you look at like a voucher or DLC ticket thing and it says actual monetary value 0.001 cent, you know, what is this actually worth? As long as the stream sound doesn't show the dirt. You'll have that. There's a really funny comic where they have like the cone that the camera can see, and everything inside the cone is pristine and really nice, and everything outside the cone is just all this dirt that's shoved to the side. Let's see if I can find it. Anyway, yeah, Tango Gameworks also put out an update for Hi-Fi Rush last week. It was pretty basic. It was just the handful of bug fixes they had done in the intervening time. They were probably waiting for a bigger update because sending out updates on consoles is expensive. You have to pay for it every time, whereas in PC you can just press a button and up it goes. So they usually wait to collect a bunch of things before they push out an update. But yeah, anyway, both of those games have had their final updates. Which is pretty grim, but it is good for Redfall because, again, I do go on about games preservation. Game preservation-wise, it can be played offline now by yourself if you want to. The servers are gone, or they will be gone soon enough. Anyway, that's good. Right, Epic Games. The free Epic game this week is Dragon Age Inquisition, the Game of the Year edition, which has all of the DLC and that kind of thing. Winner of over 130 Game of the Year awards, discovered the definitive Dragon Age Inquisition experience. Game of the Year edition includes the critically acclaimed all 3 official add-ons. That's a weird sentence, which is weird anyway. Jaws of Hakan, The Descent, and Trespasser, and more. The Trespasser DLC is probably the critically acclaimed one, because that was genuinely really good. The other 2, they're alright. They're fine. Anyway, Dragon Age Inquisition, decent game, decent RPG. It has a little too much MMO stuff in it. There is a list of mods going around that strips out a lot of the MMO stuff and basically turns the game into a shorter but way more story-focused game. It drops it from like 80 hours to 40 hours. That's how much MMO shit was in a single-player offline game. Anyway, Dragon Age Dreadwolf, Dragon Age 4, will be out at some stage this year, apparently. So if you wanted to, you could get caught up. It is a direct sequel to Dragon Age Inquisition. Dragon Age 1 and 2 aren't sequels to each other. They do have a couple of things in common, but they're not direct sequels. Dragon Age Inquisition, similarly, is not a direct sequel to Dragon Age 1 or 2. Some characters in common, but otherwise not a sequel. Whereas Dragon Age Dreadwolf is definitively a sequel to Dragon Age Inquisition. Anyway, moving on. What about some of our monthly games? So a refresh for Take the Power of AI on the Go. Absolutely not. You fuck off. Okay, right. Game Pass refresh for the middle of the month. So good few games on their way this month. A lot of them are no, not a lot of them. Two of them. Two of them are brand new releases. Maybe three, possibly. I'm not sure about Firework. Anyway, so NHL 24. It's a hockey sport game. You know if you want it or not. And chances are you already have it. Chance of Sonar is a really good puzzle game from last year. It's a puzzle game based around deciphering language and deciphering glyphs and stuff like that. And there's a bunch of different cultures that overlap, and you can kind of see how their languages branch off and that kind of thing. It's a really good puzzle game. I really liked it. Haunty we played as part of Steam Next Fest. This will be a brand new release into Game Pass. It's a twin stick shooter puzzle thing. It's got a little bit of Mario 64 to it, is kind of what I put to it, but it's a top-down, isometric, monochromatic twin stick shooter type thing. But the shooting isn't really for combat necessarily, it's mostly for interacting with the environment. It lets you possess things. You're kind of a ghost. And you can possess different props in the environment, and that will let you do strange things. So it's got a little bit of Mario 64 in that you're collecting a bunch of stars or pieces of the moon or something like that. I forget what it is. And then it's got a little bit of Mario Odyssey in that you take over things, you know, with your possession ability and stuff like that. I thought it was really good. The demo we played for Steam Next Fest. Anyway, Humanity is Lemmings, basically. It's like a puzzle setup. You need to get this stream of humanity from point A to point B, and you need to collect a couple of things along the way, but you basically need to set up the environment so that they can walk from one spot to the next, a la Lemmings. Moving Out 2 is effectively Overcooked, but you're moving house. It's kind of the same thing. Rolling Hills, I think, is a sushi restaurant thing? Not sure. Too familiar with that one. Galactic Care, similar, not too sure what that is. Looks like a theme hospital type. Immortals of Avium is the flop FPS. You know, it's Call of Duty but magic. Unfortunately, that's kind of all it is. There's not much else to it. Lords of the Fallen is Dark Souls at home. It's the Dark Souls we have at home. It's all right. It's a little too gleeful in being shitty to the player. I feel like Dark Souls at least balances that out by letting the player get somewhere before it just annihilates them with a bunch of enemies. Whereas Lords of the Fallen is just no let up. We're just gonna be mean the whole game instead. Okay. Hellblade 2: Senua's Saga is also a brand new release straight into Game Pass, which is kind of the reason why Microsoft is in the place they're in, but whatever. Sequel to Hellblade 1. It looks really good. Visually, it's very pretty. There's not a ton of gameplay in the first Hellblade. That's not necessarily a problem. But when it's something you're trying to, entice a lot of people into Game Pass and juice your numbers for your subscription service, it's probably not really enough. I mean, I'm interested in playing it. My Steam Deck will just get up and leave if I try to play it on that, so I'm probably going to have to wait to see if Microsoft bring this to PlayStation. Maybe they will. Who knows? And then Firework, I don't know what that is. I've never heard of it. So let's have a look. Where are the ones that I've never heard of? Galacticare. Director of Galacticare, an interstellar healthcare company. Build hospitals, recruit staff. Yeah, it's Team Hospital. Okay, fine. It's a Chinese horror game. Okay. An accidental fire at a funeral forces the police to reinvestigate the closed case of a massacre. Play a rookie police officer who participates in the reinvestigation by chance. The investigation goes deeper. The past of the victims gradually emerges. Okay. Might have to check that out. And then Rolling Hills, day one. Okay, that's also a day one game. Serve up sushi as a robot chef. And yeah. It's what I thought it was. Right, moving on. Firework, I mean, has good reviews. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. PlayStation Plus catalog for May. Refresh. Red Dead 2, Crime Boss, Rokai City, Deceive Inc. are kind of the big ones. Red Dead 2, as far as I'm aware, has been on it before. It's just coming back. overwhelming positive on Steam. Oh dear, I really will have to take a look at it. So, yeah, I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2. If you don't know already, I'm sure you do at this point. Cowboy game, it's good. A lot of people like it. Melwin really, really likes it. I am kind of middling on it. It's too slow for me. I don't want to individually pick up every single can of beans in the environment. Laboriously turn it around and look at it and put it in my pack. It takes too long. It's too long. It's too slow. Just have it absorb into my body like every other video game. It's fine. Okay, anyway, Deceive Inc. is Among Us, but it looks a little nicer. That's kind of it. The idea with Deceive Inc. is kind of prop hunt. You kind of hide in the environment, pretend to be an NPC, that kind of thing, and then other characters are sent there to hunt you down and, you know, that kind of stab people in the back and what have you. Disappointed in me again. Hey, Banana, you getting on? The City Living expansion pack. You need to already have The Sims 4 for that to be of any use to you. And then Crime Boss Road Kai City is bad. A very bad game. Don't play it, ever. It's not good. Even if it's free. Even if it's free, don't play it. It's not good. It's trying to be GTA, it's trying to be Mafia. It does not succeed. It's banking on you looking at this picture and going, hey, I know all those people. That might make it interesting. No, it won't. Just leave it. Sims 4 with its 1,000 DLCs, I know, exactly. On the other hand, you could get all those 1,000 DLCs if you know, sail the 7 seas or what have you. Yar. Anyway. A couple of other games. The Settlers, I think, is an RTS type. Settlers now has a strategy and a build-up real-time battle thing. Oh. Stranded, Alien Dawn, Brandon, Brave New World. I think it's a survival, planet survival sim. Yeah, please. Okay, so it's a survival sim, but space stuff, alien stuff, I guess. Very slowly collected the whole game on this. We have Cat Quest 1 and 2. Cat Quest 3 is out soon enough. Cat Quest is a top-down action RPG thing. It's a bit like Zelda, a little bit. Lego Video Game 2. Okay, it's a Lego game. Yeah, pretty sure you know what you're getting out of that. Watch Dogs. The franchise Ubisoft has forgotten about. Watch Dogs is an open world kind of GTA type thing, but you hack things. You don't really. You point your phone at it and things happen. It's not really how hacking works, but okay. It's okay. It's got some interesting ideas. Watch Dogs 2 is the better game, I think. And then over on the PlayStation Premium side of thing, 2 Extreme, which is SSX at home. G Police, Jesus. They're really, really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. G Police, I think it's a shmup. Pair between, around, and under obstacles, bridges, 360 flight. It's like a ship dogfighting thing. I don't know why it has this picture of people in it, because there's no people in the game. You just fucking fly around. Still haven't played Watch Dogs. Oh, your favorite's the first one, really? Okay. I thought it was a bit too... I don't know. I just preferred the second one. Anyway. And then Worms, but not Worms. It's Worms Pinball. Yes, that's it. I'm really glad I'm paying for that premium tier. Get those 3 titans of video games there. Anyway, moving on. Those are some of the games you can play soon. But what if you wanted to play something right now? Well, you can play Mullet Mad Jack, and you should, because it's really good. We played this part of Steam Next Fest. It is a first-person roguelike kind of corridor shooter type thing. So it's very fast-paced. You're having to make decisions pretty quickly. You are on a timer. You're kind of in a stage in the future where your life is tied to the number of likes and the number of viewers you have on the stream. In which case, I would be very dead by now. Anyway, Taquita Banana and Melwin keeping me alive. Anyway, the idea is you need to keep, you need to keep your adrenaline up. You need to keep making, cool shit happen on screen to keep the timer going, kind of thing. It is not as strict as it sounds. It is actually quite generous, the time limit, so don't worry too much. I know when people see, oh, it's a game with a time limit, I don't think I like that kind of thing. It's not that bad. It's honestly not as bad. Got interested after the trailer, then bought it day one, then got it again for Watch Dogs. Yeah, that trailer really did sell a lot of people on that series, and I don't think it really lived up to it. I don't think Watch Dogs Legion did well, even though I think it was an okay game. I just don't think it did that well. Anyway, Mullen Mad Jack out now. Go play it. It's really good. Moving on. Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is the next thing from... fuck are they called? Simago, I think, is the name of the developer. I don't remember. These are the people behind Sayonara Wild Hearts. Simago, there they are. Legion was fun, with the play as everyone didn't really matter. Yeah, that's like I kind of figured that's what how it would end up being, because they'd have to balance the game around you being able to be anybody, which means you can play as anybody. It's not really required that you go out and pick a really good team or anything. Anyway, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Next thing from the Sayonara Wild Hearts people. It's nothing like Sayonara Wild Hearts, which was a rhythm action game that a lot of people really like, and I don't understand the like for it. It's fine. It's fun, but it's not like I'm gonna base my entire personality around this or anything. Anyway, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is kind of a survival horror thing without the horror bit, or without the survival bit, I guess. So none of those things. It's nothing like because it's a puzzle game, more or less. You're working your way through a maze of, psychedelic, psychotropic type things. We are going to play it on the channel. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a full Let's Play of it yet, because I'm not entirely sure what the gameplay is. If it's going to be something like The Witness, then no, we're not going to do a full Let's Play of that, because good God, I don't want everyone to know quite just how stupid I am. Anyway, we're going to take a look at Lorelei at some point, probably next week, when we'll have a look at it. Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut PC. So the next PlayStation game making its way to PC. Ghost of Tsushima. It's a Director's Cut. The Witness scares me. It is a bit daunting. All right, so that game took a very long time to finish. I'm not going to say how long. It's a long time. Anyway, Ghost of Tsushima, I really liked its open world samurai stuff. Before Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out, you can get Ghost of Tsushima instead, because it's effectively the same thing. They did the samurai open world thing way before Assassin's Creed did. I don't know why. Why did it take Ubisoft so long to go, hey, let's make Assassin's Creed in Japan? I don't get it. Anyway, Ghost of Tsushima, really good open world samurai fun times. Give it a shot. The only real issue here is if you want to play the Legends mode, which is their multiplayer thing, you will need a PlayStation account. And as we saw, that was a real problem for the Helldivers people for obvious reasons. That may be a problem for you as well. If you are looking to play the game on Steam Deck, you won't be able to do multiplayer because PSN and Steam Deck don't work together for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, that's that. And then last thing on our new releases is Robobeat. Robobeat is a Metal Hellsinger type thing, but a different genre of music. So Metal Hellsinger, as you might imagine, heavy metal, whereas Robobeat is more electronica, dance, that kind of thing. Again, it's fun. We played it during Steam Next Fest. I thought it was really good. Rhythm games are obviously kind of, if you either do or don't have rhythm, I suppose, you might find it more difficult. I do believe there is an accessibility mode where you can play it without having to do things to the beat of the music. There's their inspirations. Anyway, give it a shot. As I said, it was during Steam Next Fest last year, and it's now available to play. Anyway, unfortunately though, it is now time to talk about the worst part of video games. Video game industry. So, Microsoft CEO wants more Xbox games on PC PC, on PS5 and Switch. Because he just wants number go up, because he's not a video game player. And he's also not a software developer. You might wonder, why is the head of Microsoft neither a software developer, have anything to do with software? He's just a business guy. Yeah, we should probably ask that question. More people should really be asking those questions, but they don't. Anyway, moving on. So moving on, after the shuttering of Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks, and then seeing how well Sea of Thieves and Grounded did over on PlayStation. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella is like, hey, let's put more games out on PlayStation and Switch and everything else. And the people at Xbox are like, we don't want to do that. That'll ruin our exclusivity, Game Pass, etc., etc. And obviously, CEO guy is capitalism brain, and he just wants number go up. So obviously, he wants that to happen, and that's fine. More games for more people. Great. It might kill Xbox, but in the other ways, it would still work. Internally, the plan is reportedly called Operation Latitude. And the CEO has made it clear that all Xbox games and franchises should be considered. So you may someday see Master Chief fight Kratos. Who knows? It may happen. Might. Who knows? Phil Spencer might finally be ousted and it might happen. Who knows? Again, this is a report of secondhand news. We don't know how true this actually is. What we do know is after the acquisition of Activision, that was a lot of money. 70 billion, 69 nice billion dollars. That's a lot of money. They're not likely to recoup that anytime soon. So Microsoft Microsoft proper are going to be having a lot more scrutiny over Xbox to go, hey, you need to make that money back now. Like right now. I know we agreed to let you have Activision, but also now you need to make that money back. Let's go. Come on. Why aren't you making the money? Let's do it. Call of Duty needs to sell $70 billion this year. It's not going to happen. The best it can do is maybe 1 billion. Like GTA 5 has been going since the PS3, and that's only made $10 billion. Only made. Like that isn't a crazy amount of money. Anyway, but it's not 70 billion, you know, and that's the highest selling game of all time. Maybe $69 billion was too much. I don't know. You'll find out. Anyway, Activision unveil a new studio working on narrative AAA franchise just days after Microsoft shut down Prey and Evil Within devs, who were, of course, also working on narrative AAA franchises. You know, you had two studios that were already really good at it, guys. Around a week after Microsoft shutters Arcane Austin and Tango Gameworks, who were working on story-driven AAA games, they've now opened a new studio that will work on story-driven AAA games. Good job, idiots. Anyways. This, however, is more of a just unfortunate coincidence. This studio had been in the works for quite a while. It is an Activision situation rather than Xbox itself. Activision and Xbox, as part of the deal merger agreement, are meant to be somewhat still independent. So this is really more of an unfortunate timing rather than anything else. But it certainly doesn't look good for them to, you know, lose two studios that are focusing on this specific thing and then open a brand new one. You know, it doesn't look good. It's also kind of strange that Activision are making something other than Call of Duty. That's kind of weird. Anyway, we'll see how that works out for them, Cotton. Marvel Rivals publisher walks back negative review clause. So this is kind of news that came out earlier in the week. The Marvel Rivals game, which is effectively Overwatch but Marvel characters, as part of their agreement with people who are going to be streaming it, influencers, early playtesters, that kind of thing, buried in the contract was you are not allowed to say anything bad about the game. There was a clause in there that said, you know, you are restricted from making negative review feedback, what have you, or sharing it publicly, etc. And a lot of people were like, yep, nope, don't want that. Go away. Not going to play your game now. See, normally, you would actually see that kind of stuff in contract. Particularly for, like, early build stuff, because early news, early preview stuff can really torpedo a game. It's why you'll see, and it's kind of a big issue in the journalism space in general, but you will often see that previews for games are glowing. You know, oh, this game is really fun, it's etc. And then when the game comes out, they review it and it's like, this game's shit. So, but your preview said it was great. It's because it has this kind of stuff in it. And a lot of it is to do with maintaining access to that developer, to that publisher, so you don't shit on them straight away. you play nice so that they'll give you access to their next game or their next project or whatever it is. But also, the way this news doesn't get out is that you're meant to make people sign NDAs before they see the contract. And it seems like the Marvel Rivals people forgot that bit. Because people were sharing the contract around going, this clause is kind of bullshit, right? Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's also in a lot of contracts. But anyway, it's retracting its no negativity clause. We're extremely disappointed in Marvel Rivals. Multiple creators asked for key codes to gain access to the playtest and are asked to sign a contract. The contract signs away your right to negatively review the game. So many people are not going ahead with it. They've decided to retract it. No news on when they're going to retract it. And since it's a legal document, they kind of need people to sign it again. The question of whether they will bother getting people to sign it again, or they're like, no, the people who signed it before, you're locked into the no negativity thing, but the next people are fine. They can say whatever they want. Okay, that kind of makes that contract kind of worthless. Anyway, we'll see how that works out. But it's nothing new. Like, these aren't the first people to add a no negativity clause into their previews. It's a lot of them do it. Anyway, Square Enix is shifting focus to multi-platform game releases for major franchises. So this is news coming out of Square Enix's earnings reports. They have a 3-year plan to aggressively pursue a multi-platform strategy after allegedly Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth sales were below expectations. Now, what should be pointed out is that Square Enix has a history of not meeting its sales expectation goals because it has ridiculous expectations. It thinks games should be selling, sequels should be selling double what the originals are, and that's just, it doesn't happen. They're thinking games that have been lying dormant for years should suddenly sell millions of copies, like Hitman and Deus Ex and so on. Like, Hitman and Deus Ex are niche games. They're good games, very good games, but they're niche, First-person stealth is not something everybody is dying to play, Trial and error Hitman simulation stuff is not something everyone is dying to play, even though they should, because it's good. But anyway, the other reason to keep in mind is why Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth would not have sold as well as they were expecting is the PS5 is not as ubiquitous as you might think. So we're 4 years into the PS5 life cycle. You might expect most people playing on PlayStation at this point would be playing on PlayStation 5. That is not the case. Of all the people currently playing on PSN right now, half of them are on PS4. Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth are both PS5 exclusives. So Final Fantasy 7 Remake was PS4 and PS5. So you've already cut the install base in half by making it exclusive to PS5 instead. And it's a sequel. So you're also still going to get fewer people playing it. You have to expect you won't be making as many sales. You've already cut it in half. Like, stealth, what does stealth mean? This is true. Melvin is just, it's too slow. He's gotta go fast. Anyway, we'll see how this works out for them. Some sad news around this is that they have cancelled games. We don't know what games they are because they never announced them. But we do know that they have cancelled games that don't fit this new ethos where they're just going to focus on the big things. Like a lot of studios are doing, it's going to be a problem for them. It's what Sony are doing as well. Sony have been doing it for a while where they just focus on big giant blockbuster games and then don't focus on their smaller games that are fun and you can also make them quickly so you don't have this time like they have right now. We have no new games to put out in 2024. That's where Sony are at right now. That's where Square Enix are going. That's where Ubisoft are going. That's where EA are going. They're all going down that line of, we're not going to have, some years we're just not going to have anything, lol. And relying on the indie scene to pick up the slack. Now, to be fair to the indie scene, they are picking up the slack, but it's not, that's not something you should be relying on them to do. There should be space for the AA game, the B tier game, there should be space for them. Smaller, what is the phrase? I want uglier games. No, I want shorter games with worse graphics, and I'm not kidding, or something like that. I forget what the phrase is, but yes, unironically. Unironically, yeah, that is what I want. Anyway, Right. We'll leave Mullet Mad Jack to play in the background. Right. That is your news for the 13th to the 19th of May, 2024. So Assassin's Creed Shadows, the Japan one, like they should have had years ago at this point. After Assassin's Creed 3 should have been Assassin's Creed Japan, really. And not what we got, which was awful. Anyway. The casting of somebody Stone, I've already forgotten his name. The supermassive Dead by Daylight crossover thing, where they're going to take the Dead by Daylight universe and make a supermassive game out of it, as in a choose your own adventure thing, not like a really big game. Okay, supermassive have been a little hit and miss lately, mostly miss to be honest. So we'll see how they work out with that. I am concerned that they are stretching themselves kind of thin. They have a lot of games on the go now, a lot of projects that they have in the works, and that's very Telltale Games before Telltale Games shuttered because they had too many projects on the go and couldn't fund all of them, and they basically required all of them to do really well, and they didn't because they were making too many games at once. Anyway, we'll see if that's the same thing that happens to Supermassive. Kind of feel like that is what's going to happen to them. Dragon Age Inquisition is your free game on the Epic Store. Redfall is going to get a final update that will take it completely offline, which is good from a game's preservation standpoint. Probably not good for the game itself. But anyway, doesn't matter now because people who made the game aren't being supported anymore, so who cares? Something else I wanted to say, I don't remember now. Anyway. Xbox Game Pass, Hellblade 2, Haunty, both two brand new games that will be launching straight into Game Pass, as well as Chances Sonar, which is a really good puzzle game that if you have Game Pass is free now and you should give it a shot. It's really, really good. Tequila Banana's eating well this month. PlayStation Plus side, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the standout for that edition, but it had also already been on the catalog, so there's nothing like brand new to it. You know, you're not seeing anything amazing coming to that, which is kind of disappointing. Again, not that should I really be disappointed in Sony anymore? I feel like this is my expectation now, that they're just gonna not put in any real effort. They're happy that they're sitting on the top of the console chain right now. And they're the same hubris they had going into the PS3, basically. They're like, PS2 is pretty much dominant, so we're just gonna half-ass the PS3, and that's what they did. And then PS4 was their, makeup for that. We're sorry, come back to PlayStation, and people did because PS4 was considerably better than the Xbox One. And now they're doing the same thing with the PS5 generation. So PlayStation 6 will be really good, I guess. I don't know. Maybe PlayStation 7 we'll have to wait for. We want 4K 60 FPS or DR2. Now, I think you need a really, really powerful PC, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is not on the PC, so... That's a problem, alright. Anyway. We're sure DR2 at next gen. Yeah, I mean, there is a PS5 Pro on the way, allegedly, rumor-wise. Maybe that can handle it, but it's whether Rockstar bother to update it or not. Which, it seems to be that they put out Red Dead Redemption and then forget about it. But then they put out GTA and they're just on it for the next 10 years. Like, what's the deal? There's some real golden child stuff going on over at Rockstar. What's the deal there? They really do only care about GTA. It makes them a lot of money, is the problem. Red Dead Online didn't really make them any money. They didn't have shark cards in Red Dead Online. That was the problem. Anyway. New releases you can see here, Mullet Mad Jack. I'm quite looking forward to playing all of that game. Loreline, the Laser Eyes, we will play next week on the channel. So you have a look at what that game is really about. Ghost of Tsushima making its way to PC. I don't think it'll do as well as God of War or Horizon did, but I think it'll find a decent audience with it. I forget what the fourth game was. Robo Beat. It's Metal Hellsinger, but if you're not into heavy metal, now you have one for dance and electronic music. Is RDR2 on PC? So it's just the original that's not on PC. That's stupid. Why did they put this? I mean, it's good they put the sequel on PC, but still, why did they do that and not put the original there? Yeah, I mean, yes, it should have a proper upgrade for PS5. They use mods already, and yes, it will absolutely. The Steam Deck will become the surface of the sun if I try to play that game on it. Anyway, over on our industry bullshit side, Microsoft pushing the Xbox team to make everything multi-platform. I do feel that they will do that, but I also think they're not just going to open the doors for everything. I think they will continue to pick and choose their games on what does and doesn't make its way over, or they might do a timed window thing and they'll come back a week later. I think they might see a push to get Indiana Jones multi-platform, if just because Disney might insist on it. We don't know. Again, not entirely sure. Phil Spencer has been all about Indiana Jones and Starfield are like, no, they're like red line. They're staying on Xbox kind of thing. We'll see how long he's able to maintain that when the CEO is like, where's that $70 billion? I need it now. I need a new yacht. I need a yacht for my yacht. My new yacht is sad. I need to get them a friend. Anyway, Square Enix taking everybody else's same approach. They're just following the leader of ignoring their smaller games and going after their big multi-platform or going after their big franchises. I mean, restricting everything to one platform was a mistake, but restricting it all to a platform that hasn't seen the same ubiquity as previous ones was also a mistake. Like, Final Fantasy 16 should have been on PC as well. And it is making its way to PC now, but it should have been, like, day one. I imagine they had an agreement with Sony to not do that. Rumors say RDR is coming to PC, but it's the potato version that they released. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I have heard that as well. We'll see if they do it or not. I don't know. Maybe when they're, they forget about GTA 6 for a second. I doubt it. I'm probably going to have to wait until GTA 6 is done before you see it. Anyway, not mentioned actually on the show, Sony have picked a new CEO, or two CEOs. Herman Hulst is going to be CEO for their games and first-party stuff, and a Japanese name I don't know how to pronounce is going to be their head of platform stuff and head of hardware and that kind of thing. So they are splitting it, which is interesting. I still don't really agree on making Herman Hulst CEO, because in my mind, while I do attribute Sony's change to just going after prestige and blockbusters to Jim Ryan, and I'm glad he's gone, Herman Hulst was very much the facilitator for all of that as well. He was very much in lockstep with that. So having him CEO means we're not going to see a huge change from Sony. I'm excited for GTA 6. Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to see it and, see how it plays out and what changes it makes. And I'm more excited to see the games after GTA 6, because you do tend to see open world games take some inspiration from the newer GTAs and do some interesting things with them. Didn't really see it with GTA 5. We did see it a lot with GTA 4. So if it can do something, genuinely inspiring, and the games that come after it will be really interesting, that would be nice. Just GTA 5 a better it's possible that's all it will be. I guess we'll find out. Anyway, that's it for the news. But what is happening on the channel? So this is our potential games that I'm planning to do full Let's Plays of this year. This is our big wall of games. Some of them have been finished, as you can see, the green ticks. Some of them are on their way with the gray clock thing, and then some of them aren't actually out yet, which is what the locks are meant to suggest. Although some of them are out soon enough. Anyway, this week we finished Crow Country. So this week we finished Crow Country. It's as you can see, a throwback to PS1 era for survival horror, but also for its graphical style. So it's kind of going for Resident Evil, as you can see, just very obvious there in that inventory screen, and a little bit of like the Final Fantasy VII graphic style, where everything was really chunky and blocky polygons, because nobody really knew how to do 3D yet until everyone discovered how to do it. Anyway, It's really good. I really, really enjoyed Crow Country. I've played through it a second time now to just kind of get the rest of the stuff. But yeah, I thought it was a really good game, and if you're able to, I suggest you give it a shot. Anyway, that's Crow Country. Also, off stream, I've been playing Little Kitty Big City that came out last year. Not last year, last week. Not last year. It's kind of in between Untitled Goose Game and Little Gator Game in that it is very chill. You just have like a kind of list of things to do. It's got a kind of a sandbox thing. You're not really locked into having to do anything. You just kind of do things at your own time, in your own interests, as a cat. As a cat, do cat things. I got a European accent. Not quite. Anyway, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I finished it now. It's a fun game. Fun game, just being a cat, doing fun cat things, stealing people's phones and dropping them in the toilet. Will never get old. It just never gets old. Anyway. Since I finished that, I have now moved on to a new game. I'm playing Crime O'Clock instead. I'm kind of playing a lot of just chill games off stream. And I leave the more intense stuff for the stream itself. Anyway, Crime O'Clock is kind of a find the hidden object type game. So you have these kind of large images, lots of detail, lots of things going on in it, and basically there are cases, crimes being committed, and you basically have snapshots in time. You have like 10 different snapshots that you can go forward and backward in time, and you're like following the character, following the people around the map to see what they're doing. See what they were doing before the crime was committed, what were they doing after the crime was committed, and that kind of thing, and try to figure out what happened, who done it, all that kind of stuff. It's really cute, and it's really just very chill. You're just looking into stuff. The part that I find really interesting, though, is that the stuff that kind of has nothing to do with the story, you'll see a lot of video games, just video game parodies just kind of showing off. So I've already found like Prince of Persia is in there. Paul from Dune is in there as well. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are in there. Aladdin and Jasmine are thrown in there as well for some things. It's like, it's just these things that are off to the side. They're not even part of the story. They're like really interesting. Played it for an hour and couldn't get into it. I can see why. It would be fairly easy to bounce off. All right. And the black and white, it's painful on the eyeballs after a while, certainly. I can see why it came to Switch mostly, because it's fine for handheld. I think playing this on a big HDR TV is just going to blind you after a while. Anyway, that's what I've been playing off stream. Next week, as we do have space now for a new Let's Play, so we're going to play Indica. So Indica is a narrative game. You're playing the nun, Indica. It's during a alternative history Russian War of Independence thing, I think, or Russian Civil War type thing. I'm not sure the exact time period we're in here. Might just be World War, actually. But it's alternative history, anyway. And the idea with Indica is she is a nun who has been given a task to take a message to a priest on the other side of the country, or the other side of the empire, or something like that. As you can see, there's a lot of really weird stuff going on in the game, because Indica is possessed by the devil, and the devil is talking to her constantly, or maybe she's, just had a psychotic break. Not entirely clear. The small bit that I played during Steam Next Fest was really interesting. I did like the characterization of the devil, in that he's kind of more like the Joker. He's not like, voice down here. He's really more like, ha, 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 ha. And he's just absolutely ripping the piss out of you the whole time. I just thought it was really good. So I'm looking forward to playing. We are going to do a full Let's Play of this one. I just like the characterization. Anyway, so next week is going to look like this. So we have Indica Tuesday, Wednesday. It's about 5 to 6 hours, so we should probably finish it within those 2 days. The Final Fantasy V, we're going to continue that on Thursday. There won't be a stream on Friday because I have a work thing I need to go to. And then Saturday we'll be continuing Final Fantasy V. We started Final Fantasy V this week. It's fun, as usual. I like the Final Fantasy games. That's why I'm doing a full series playthrough in the first place, because I like them. But I'm enjoying it. We're not super far into it, but I am liking the job system in Final Fantasy V, and I do like that you can take aspects of one job and add it to another one instead, so you can kind of have a multi-class thing going on, which would have been brand new to the series at the time. So I'm quite liking that. Anyway, that is the plan for next week. So we're going to have Indica Tuesday, Wednesday, and Final Fantasy V Thursday and Saturday, and then we'll have the weekly news recap, which you're watching right now, on Sundays as usual. Right, that is it from me. Thanks for keeping me company, Melwin, Taquita Banana, appreciate it. I believe Melwin is planning to play Dave the Diver later on today. Not sure if she still is, but that was the plan, at least is what I saw on her schedule. So I might see you there in her chat, but otherwise, we will see you on Tuesday for Indica. Right. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.